What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to give you guys a quick update on Tesla, SPY, NVIDIA, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's happening with the market. As far as we had some very big news that just came out. We saw a slightly hot PCE report, which is a little bit negative for the markets in my opinion. So I want to break down how this may affect the market moving forward, what's going on with Tesla, SPY, NVIDIA, and the others, and how things are moving going into the day for today. But before I break into devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. And the offer ends very soon in just 4 days. Anyways, looking at SPY, we have a bearish divergence that's starting to develop on the much smaller time frames. We have this liquidity grab that happened right over here, and this is a possible rejection that could be forming because we ended up getting a somewhat hotter than expected PCE report. So here are the numbers right here. Core PCE month over month was 0.3% aligned with expectations. On top of this, personal income month over month was 0.5% aligned with expectations. Personal spending was a little bit hot at 0.8% above expectations. And then PCE month over month was 0.3% aligned with expectations. So the top four are not too bad, but then, excuse me, these bottom two right here are actually not too good. So you can see PCE year over year for all items, this is like another inflationary measure, was 2.7%. That's a little bit harder than expected. The expectation was 2.6%. So this was a little bit hot. And then core PCE year over year was 2.8%. That is above expectations of 2.6 to 2.7%. So this was a little bit hot. This is not the best of news. And then when it comes to what else is going on, at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have more Michigan consumer sentiment data, inflationary expectations, and such. So this is also going to be very important. We'll have to see what this causes 30 minutes after the market ends up opening. So watch for some volatility at 10 a.m. But just know that the inflationary data was mixed but a little bit hot. So this is not the best of news. And once again, the market kind of like popped and starting to dip a bit as this is coming out. So just be very mindful of this. Moving forward, guys, I just want to call out that we have 504 being max pain despite how many puts and calls are expiring. 504 is max pain, so that's one of the most advantageous closes for market makers. So we'll have to see if that ends up being the case. And then for earnings, we just had ExxonMobil, Chevron, and just a few others. ExxonMobil is the one that just came out, and you guys can see right here, this ended up dipping a bit because of the fact that natural gas prices have dropped, and they ended up missing on some parts of their earnings. So EPS was a miss at $2.06. Revenue was $83 billion, which is above the expectation, but it's actually a dip compared to what we saw previously. And their guidance is still yet to come out, so it's so overall. With certain prices dropping, especially with oil and gas production profits falling 12%, that is what was a little bit more negative for them, and that's the reason why the share price is down quite a bit. That's why Exxon is kind of dipping. For news about the markets, we're seeing news about how the GDP numbers are not the best, and we're still watching for any more changes that are happening. There is some concern about the economic stagflation that could be coming, so that's very important, and different changes in our economy. Alphabet announced their first dividend, had good earnings. I talked about this yesterday already. Same thing with Microsoft. They had decent earnings overall. Their guidance was not the strongest, but they did manage to beat on EPS and revenue. They had good cloud growth, and they're also increasing their spending. Paramount could be forming a deal with Skydance Media to potentially form a merge agreement, which is not bad whatsoever. And finally, we also have Southwest Airlines, which has been known for its single-class open seating policy. It sets apart from many others out there. But the CEO is saying that it's considering changing that, and that's actually going to be very big for them. Now, one other big piece of news I want to call out is for Tesla. Tesla has the NHTSA opening another probe about the recall of 2 million vehicles. Once again, it's not that they're recalling more. This has actually happened in the past. They're just opening an investigation on this, and they're going to look at how Tesla's updates are efficient or not. So that's going to be very important. The SEC has more, not the SEC, the NHTSA has more updates coming up. And this is a little bit negative news for Tesla. Tesla dipped a bit when this news came out, so we watch to see how it reacts. So for SPY, guys, unfortunately, we have a bearish divergence right here. We got this liquidity grab. To be bullish, you want to see it break past 509. If that breaks, if we manage to get back above this 509 resistance, we could be pushing all the way up towards 512, but we haven't been able to crack 509 yet. If we get a rejection off the bearish divergence, you'll be watching this 506 support, very close to where this resistance happened to be. And then we also have 505. If we lose that 505 to 506 zone of support, we're going to dip all the way down to 504, then 502. But if anything, I think that there is a risk of this divergence leading to a little bit of a sell-off on SPY. So just be a little bit careful, guys. Not to mention the fact that PCE was a little bit hot. So just be mindful of that. There is a risk of us dipping just a bit, and then we'll see if we could try to bounce off one of these supports, especially at 504. I do see a little dip as a strong possibility. For Tesla, we're just barely holding our 20 EMA right now at this 168 support. We'll see if Tesla holds this. If we might get us a little rebound first and then dip lower, or we might not do that. So we'll have to wait and see. If we lose 168, we're going to be dipping to 165, and then we have resistance at 170. If that breaks, watch 172. We could pop a bit and bounce off our 20 EMA temporarily, then continue to sink lower. If we lose 168, you're going to be watching 165. But I do see a risk of that looking at the current technicals and the way things are looking, in my personal opinion. Now, for NVIDIA, we're seeing something very similar. NVIDIA has resistance at 845. We have support currently at about 8. This is 835. If anything, I would say that if we end up losing 835, there's going to be a little dip coming towards about 830. Overall, we're still kind of range bound, but I just want to make it very, very clear that we'll watch which way it breaks for the bigger move. The last time we had 845, we got a rejection on this thing, so we'll have to see if we're about to get a rejection or not. But watch 834 and 830 as supports. If we lose that zone, we turn a little bit more bearish. If we bounce off of it, we could push back up to 845. Otherwise, we're kind of range bound, but there is a risk of it dipping a little bit more, in my personal opinion, just temporarily. So we'll have to wait and see. For the triple Q, same thing. This is kind of dipping a little bit. If we lose 428, watch 426, then 425, and then 422.75. Resistance, watch 430. If we break that, we could turn back to bullish. If we continue to fall, this could dip a little bit more, and that's what it's looking like in my opinion. Aapl is at resistance at 170.9. If we reject here, we're going to dip a little bit. If we break through this, we could push higher. It is still bullish overall, but watch support at 170 to see if we could hold this. We might retest 170 and see if it bounces or not. That's going to be worth noting. For a few more, we have Coinbase. Coinbase is dipping a little bit. Make sure you watch support at 220 and 215. If we lose 215, there's a gap to fill all the way down in the 210 area. 209 area. For resistance, watch 225. If we break this, we're going to be pushing back up higher, but I'm seeing a possible head and shoulders forming on Coinbase, which could lead to some downside. So just be mindful of that. For Amazon, we're kind of turning a bit. Watch 176 as support. If we lose this, we turn back to bearish. If we hold this, we could rebound, but it might retest that. And for Meta, we're also dipping a little bit. We could be retesting 430. I do see a little dip coming as well. With that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening, guys. The market is showing some contraction because, once again, the inflationary data was it was kind of mixed overall, but a little bit hotter than expected on some regards on the year over years. And then don't forget, max pain for SPY is currently 504, so we'll see what the market makers try. So I just want to thank you all for listening. Please have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon in just a few hours. Thanks again, guys. Market opens in just about 10 minutes. Have a great day, and peace out.